Good morning. Thank you for attending this classroom session. My name is Noah. I'm one of the educators with Shortcuts. Today, we're going to be looking at how to set up attendance, how to clock in and out if you have an hourly staff, and how to adjust those hours when you're doing your reports. So as with our other presentations, we will be recording this session. So if you have to leave early, that's okay. We will send you a copy of this recording later. And of course, if you're watching this recording after the fact, you will be able to reach out to us on social media as well as our email. And if you have any questions, just let us know. So let's dig into it. So most of you are in the process of reopening or closing and reopening depending on your particular state or county. So you need to know, how do you track your employees' attendance? If previously you used to have your employees on a schedule and just track their hours that way, or if you're changing so that you need to know exactly when staff clocks in and out, how do you track that? How do you keep track of all attendance? How do you fix it? In case, let's say, an employee clocks in and they forget to clock out at the end of the day, how do you fix that? And last but not least, we're going to look at commissions. So if you're new to shortcuts or you haven't used shortcuts in a while, or you need to make changes to your commission schedule or employee schedule, this is going to be the classroom session for you. So let's start with clocking in and out. So for a lot of the salons we work with, a lot of the barbershops we work with, we want to track the employees based on when they're actually on the clock, when they're actually performing services. So if you're using the self check-in for customers, or you're using the walk-in manager in shortcuts. What the first thing the employees have to do is clock in and clock off when they're going on break or at the end of their shift. So if you're using the traditional appointment book, most of your staff is going to go to the performance button on the right side of the screen, and this is where they'll clock in and clock off. When the employee goes to the performance screen, they actually see what their productivity was for that day, that week, and even that month. Now, if you have a walk-in manager set up instead of an appointment screen, then on the bottom of the walk-in manager is where your staff will click on their name and they'll clock in and clock off when they're done with the day. So if your business requires your staff to keep track of their hours, make sure they clock in and clock off and know exactly where to do that. So if your staff is clocking in and clocking out when they're supposed to, and let's say it's the end of a pay period, whether it's 1 week or 2 weeks, and you need to find out how many hours did the staff actually work based on these clock in and clock off times, there is a report for you. If you go to the report category, which is under tools, you're going to go to reports, employees, and the specific report is employee hours. So if you normally run a commission and wages report and you pay your staff based on their clock in, clock outs, or their commissions, before you do that, just take a look at their employee hours and make sure that you don't have staff that's accidentally been clocked off or clocked on for longer than they were supposed to. So that's the report to run. You set your date range, again, whether it's a week or 2 weeks, and then you press view. And every employee will actually have their total hours plus when they clocked in and clocked out each day. So let's say you're looking at your report and you notice that an employee was clocked in for too little or too much time. So how do you fix it? So you're going to go under the tools button to attendance. You're going to set a date range that you're searching for, whether it's this week or last week, and you're going to find the employee and adjust either the time they clocked in or the time they clocked off, or you can just go to the column that says hours and type in the total hours they should have for that day. And then when you go back to your reports and rerun your attendance report, then it'll actually reflect the changes that you just made. So let's say a staff member completely forgot to clock in or clock off on a certain day. You do have the ability to add an attendance for that employee. So from that screen, If you select the employee's name and press New, then Shortcuts will say, do you want to add a shift for them? Yes. And then on what day would you like to add that shift? And from what hours would you like to add that shift? And then Shortcuts will add this additional time to the report. So seeing it is one thing, but let's actually jump into Shortcuts and review all the things I just talked about. So we'll get out of this presentation for a moment into Shortcuts. So from the appointment book, if I have a staff that normally works on the appointment book, on the right side, under Main, they would go to Performance, and on the top right, this is where they clock in or clock off. Now, I'm logged in as an administrator, so I get to see all of the staff members. Normally, when the staff logs in, the only thing they see is their own name and their own performance. So that's where you would go if you were using the regular appointment book. If you were a barber shop or a spa that does more walk-ins, then from the walk-in manager, at the bottom of the screen, you would choose the staff member's name, and this is where you would clock on or clock off. And if a staff member was going to take a short break and we needed to update the estimated wait time, this is where you would say, this employee is going to be away for 15 minutes. So that would adjust the estimated wait time. So this is where you go, either Performance or the walk-in manager, to clock in and clock off. And under Tools Reports, the report that shows who has and who hasn't clocked in is under Employees, Employee Hours. And then when we run it, we'll view it, and we'll view it for today. And we should see some staff members have been clocked on for maybe a second or two. And there it is. So if a staff member forgets to enter or clock on or clock off for a certain day, to fix it, we're going to go to Tools, Attendance. And under Attendance, we're going to choose the name of the employee. And Cynthia, for example. So let's say Cynthia came in and was working yesterday. So I need to fix her attendance. So what I'll do is I'll click on the first line where Cynthia's name is. And at the bottom of the screen, I'll add a new shift for her. Continue adding a new shift? Yes. For which day? Yesterday, Monday the 13th. From what time? She was actually in from 9 to 3. So now, Shortcuts recognizes that Cynthia is currently clocked on for today, and yesterday she was in from 9 to 3. So she worked 6 hours. So I can do the same thing for Nevaeh. So I can click Nevaeh's name, add a new shift for her. Again, for yesterday, I'll put in 9 to 5. So now Nevaeh has a full 8-hour shift for yesterday. If I made a mistake here, and she wasn't here 8 hours, I can fix it in a number of ways. If I click the column that has her clock on or clock off time, I can manually type in the times that she was actually here, or I can click on her total hours and just put a number there. And Shortcuts will automatically adjust the clock. So now that I've made those changes, if I run that same report for attendance, so my employee hours view, so now the new entries that I added for yesterday will have been added. Oh, I'm just looking at today's. Let me make sure I set a date range that includes yesterday and today. There we go. So it also includes the hours they worked yesterday. So if I were to go to the commission wages report, the commission wages report will show, okay, Cynthia worked 6 hours yesterday, Nevaeh worked 7 hours yesterday. So that is how you clock in and clock out and how you adjust the attendance for your staff. So let's go back to the PowerPoint. Okay, now for the salons, the spas, the barbershops, where you actually have staff that is supposed to be working for certain hours, for certain days, how do you add their actual schedule in Shortcuts? So there's a couple of ways to do that. If you go to Tools and Schedule, or if you go to the Setup window into Employees, you can also reach the Schedule window there. You're going to see a list of staff members, and you're going to tell Shortcuts for every day of the week. Are they working? That is, do they have a normal working shift, or are they off? Do they have a day off that day? So you want to enter a schedule for at least 7 consecutive days. Even if a staff member is not working on a certain day, you should always enter that information into Shortcuts. And there's a reason for that. Because if you have online services enabled, either customer self check in or online booking, then the hours that the employees are available is going to affect that. So, this is how you prevent customers from booking a staff member if they're not working that day. So, let's actually talk about how to enter the schedules. And then, once the schedule is entered, if you want to copy it and set that to be the employee schedule for the next month or the next 3 months or even the rest of the year, how do you copy a schedule? So it's on the same window. You're going to highlight a date range, and this is where mark cells comes into play. You're going to copy the first day of the week or select the first day, whether it's Sunday or Monday, and then choose the 7th day. Again, whether it's Friday or Saturday or Sunday, whatever that 7th day is. Shortcuts will highlight the entire week. And when you right click on it, Shortcuts will ask you, for how far would you like to copy the schedule? Again, for the rest of the month, the next 3 months, or the rest of the year, or even into next year if you want. So again, talking about the steps is one thing. Let's actually go into Shortcuts and actually do these steps. So there's 2 ways to get to the schedules. Under the Tools button, if you go to Schedule, this has the window that shows the staff's current schedules, or under Setup, Employees, and Schedule. And you can go one at a time or search for the employees up here. So let's go with the first one. So the schedule. So you'll notice we're on the week of the 13th. And I'm setting the schedule for Kelly. She's on the very first column. So for Kelly, I need to tell Shortcuts, is she on or off for certain days so that she doesn't get booked accidentally. So I'll actually click yesterday, Monday the 13th, and I'll say this was a day off for her. And the same thing with today. So she's off Monday, Tuesday, day off. If the business is normally closed on a certain day, it may come up red for you, in which case you don't necessarily have to enter a day off there. Shortcuts already recognizes that's a day off. And again, Monday is a day off for her. So now that I've set a full 7-day schedule for Kelly, I can tell Shortcuts I'd like to copy the schedule for the next month. So to do that, I'm going to press Mark Cells at the very top left, Mark Cells. And Shortcuts is going to ask me, what is the first cell of the week? Well, for my business, this is actually an Academy database. I run from Tuesday to Sunday. So I'm going to click the first cell is my Tuesday, which is today, under Kelly's column, and the last day is next Monday. So if you noticed, everything from Tuesday to next Monday just got highlighted. Now when I right click on that shaded area, I can tell Shortcuts I want to copy the schedule until, and I choose the next Monday the schedule ends. So it could be the last Monday in July or the last Monday in August. I'm going to set it to the last Monday in August. And Shortcuts will say, if there was a schedule there previously, I'm about to overwrite it. Am I sure I want to overwrite it? Absolutely. Now here's something that'll make you a little bit more comfortable. If the employee or the staff member actually had appointments on certain days, they don't get erased. They stay on the schedule, whether the employee is set for a day on or day off. The only thing Shortcuts is doing is actually changing when the staff is available. So now that I did that, at the top left, I can press unmarked cells, and then I can take a look. So Kelly's schedule is actually set for the next 2 months. So I could, if I was front desk or if I was the manager at this location, I would repeat the process for the rest of the team. Now, if some of the team members actually had identical schedules, so Kelly and Brianna actually have the same schedule. I don't want to spend too much time just copying the same days off. So what I could do is I can press mark cells and choose Kelly's Tuesday to Monday as if I'm going to copy that schedule. And once I mark the cells, if I hold down the Alt key, I can actually drag and drop Kelly's schedule to another column. So maybe this schedule should be the one for Olivia, not Brianna. So I'll go over to Olivia. And when I let go of the mouse, Shortcuts will say, am I sure I want to copy that schedule? Yes, I do. And there it is. So now I don't have to spend too much time copying that. And now for Brianna, I can focus on Brianna setting her days off. So Brianna has the day off Monday and Saturday. Or I should say she has Monday, Tuesday off, and Saturday as well. So I could copy, again, mark cells, copy Brianna's Tuesday through Monday, hold down the Alt key, and copy this over to Radha. So Radha and Brianna have the same schedule. And don't forget to press unmarked cells. Now here's the nice thing. So I've just set a schedule for 4 people. If I want to copy everybody's schedule down for the next 2 months, when I press the Mark Cells button, I could begin with Kelly's Tuesday and end with Radha's Monday. So I'm clicking diagonally. And now all 4 columns are selected at the same time. Now when I right-click anywhere within those 4, I can copy the schedule until August 31st, or go even further than that. I'll go to the 31st. And just like that, I've copied 4 staff member schedules for the next 2 months. So that is how you enter and how you copy a schedule in Shortcuts. And again, this is always synchronizing online. So if you're allowing customers to book online, the further in advance that your staff schedules are entered, then of course the easier it is for customers to make appointments. If you can set it for the next 6 months or the rest of the year, absolutely go for it. And you can set your online booking to allow customers to book 3, 4, 5 months in advance. So back to the presentation. So now we know how to clock in and clock out if your staff is hourly, how to make a schedule if the employees have to be available during certain times. So now, if your staff should get a commission based on service or retail, how do you set that up in Shortcuts? So in the same window that we went to, the schedule window, at the bottom center of the screen, there is a button that says commission. It looks like a little wrench. And on that window is where you create commissions. Now, by default, there are no commissions in Shortcuts. You have to set your own. So you need to tell Shortcuts from what dollar amount to what dollar amount does a staff member get a commission on service or retail or both, or even sundries like gift certificates. So you can actually have different types of commissions. Let's say your employees get a service commission. So 50% for services and 10% for retail. But your receptionists get a different commission. Your receptionists get 0 for service because they don't perform any services. But for retail, you actually reward them based on how many products they upsell. So let's say from 0 to 100 or 0 to $200, they get 5% retail commission. But then if they do more than 200, 200 to 400 or 200 to 500, then they get a 10% commission. And this number goes up and up depending on how much they sell. So you can save different commissions and apply them to different employees. So let's actually do that. So in the database that we're using right now, again, this is more of an Academy database, but I do have 3 commissions I've built for this. So at the bottom of the screen, all I did was press new and fill in the blanks. So let's look at commission number 1. So commission number 1 is fairly standard. This is for the new staff that I have from 0 to infinite dollars. And infinite dollars is just denoted by a bunch of 9s. The employee gets 45% for any services that they do and 5% for any retail that they upsell. And that's it. Now, once they become senior staff, they get or they qualify for commission number 2. And for commission number 2, again, from $0 to infinite dollars, they get a 50% service commission and their retail is doubled to 10%. So if I wanted to, let's say I had a senior plus or a master commission, I can create commission 3 and then say the service is 55 and the retail is 15%. So that's easy to do. But for the front desk, since the front desk doesn't do any services, I reward them based on how many products they sell. So in this case, from 0 to 100, or for any value, they get 0 for service. However, from 0 to 100, they get 5% on retail. And if they do over 100 to 300, they get 7. Anything over 300 to 6, 10%. And if they sell anything above 600% for that pay period, 600 to infinite, they get 20% commission. Now, something you should know. The commission structure here is not target-based, it's cumulative. So what does that mean? Let's say I had a front desk employee that sold $700 worth of merchandise. Since it's on the last tier here, you would think that the employee gets 20% of the $700 that they sold. That's not the case. What the employee gets is the portion between 600 and 700. That amount and that amount alone is a 20% commission, or in this case, $20. The portion that they sold between 300 and 600, so those $300 between 3 and 6, that gets a 10% commission. So in this case, $30. So far that's $50 that they're getting. And then anything that they sold between 100 or 100 and 300, so those, that gets 7%. So in the end, it's this portion of 20% plus this portion of 10% plus this portion of 7% plus this portion of 5% is what the staff actually made. And that's much less than just 20% on the full value of the item sold. So just remember, when you're setting up bands in this case, you're paying the staff members cumulatively. It's each of these tiers added together, which is less than target, which would be 20% on everything. If your business requires you to instead pay the staff based on their target, or if your business needs to do things like deductions. So for any chemical service or any color service, you need to take $5 off or $10 off because of the cost of the color of the chemical. You may want to get what's called extended commissions. Now that's actually an add-on in Shortcuts. It allows you to set deductions for certain services and then show you what the commission should be based on those deductions. So that is an add-on. You might want to contact your customer care team and we will give you a quote on that. So we'll actually show you how to set up custom commissions and how to run the report. It's done outside of this window. It's a completely separate plugin for Shortcuts. So that's just something to think about. But once you've created your commissions, how do you tell Shortcuts certain staff members should get certain commissions? We're under Setup, Employees, And on this window, so we'll choose the name of the staff member. And on the left side, this is where we apply any of the commission bands we created to this particular person. So now when you run the report, Tools Reports, if I were to go to Employees Commission Wages Report and view it, I will actually view the start of the year. Actually, I'll view February before the pandemic caused me to close. So from the 1st to the 14th, view. So what Shortcuts does is it looks at their hourly if I pay them hourly, and it looks at their commissions if they're getting commissions on service or retail, and it gives me a breakdown for every staff member. So in this case, oh, did I jump out of it? There we go. So the nice thing about Commission Wages Report is each staff member gets their own individual page. So I can see Olivia here, she worked 31 hours, but she gets paid $0 an hour. Instead, we're commission based. So this was her total service, 124. Her commission is $62. Does she get any retail? No. So her total is $62. So every staff member gets their own breakdown. And here, let me go back. So Angela is actually a receptionist. So she gets paid hourly. So she worked 28 hours. So on the left side under wages, that's how much she made in just her hourly. She didn't sell any retail that week. So that's what her total should be. So let's go back. So it felt like a very short session, but everything we've reviewed today is critical for your business. You should now know how to clock in and how to clock out staff members. If they made a mistake on clocking in and out, how to fix the attendance, what report corresponds to that so that you can make sure the staff is getting paid correctly for their hours. You should also know how to enter a schedule. So you set a schedule for 1 week, and then you copy that schedule for the next few weeks or the next quarter, however far in advance you'd like to copy it. You should also know how to enter a commission and how to apply that commission to your staff members. So it's 3 very big things we covered today, and they're fairly easy to set up in Shortcuts. So if you're not using them or you're not comfortable with it, now I want you to review. So we're going to post a copy of our presentations on our webinar page like we normally do, but you can view every video that Shortcuts has presented, whether it's the Tuesday classroom sessions that I'm presenting or any of the new features and shortcuts that our main Shortcuts company page has updated, also are available on YouTube. So if you go to our YouTube channel, Shortcuts USA, every video we've ever created is available there, including our classroom sessions and our features. So we're going to open up the floor for questions. So if you have any questions, I'll give you a moment to type it out. So on the right side of your screen, you should have a little question bar or a little chat bar. Go ahead and type in a message, and I'll bring it up on my side. And I'll give you just a few moments for that. Okay, I don't think we have any questions this week, which is fine. But if you're watching this video after the fact and you have any questions, you can always reach out to us. So you can email us directly. I'm actually one of the education team members, education@shortcuts.net. You can also ask us questions on our social media, Shortcuts North America, or if you're on Instagram, Shortcuts USA. And of course, you can give us a call at any time. So thank you all for attending. We're going to make a copy of this recording and we'll send it to you a little bit later today. So thanks, and I look forward to seeing you on the next classroom session.